So 3 films right now on which there are actually boycott trends that are doing the rounds. Amir Khan's Lal Singh Chadda, Akshay Kumar's Raksha Bandhan, and now the latest in that list is Alia Bhatt's upcoming movie Darlings. Let's discuss this. Let's open it up. Joining me first on this broadcast is Rashmi Samant, the activist. Rashmi, nice to have you with us here on To The Point. You know, Amir Khan has been targeted over an old comment, something he made years ago. Alia Bhatt over a film which trailer is out, the film is not yet out. Are we being oversensitive here when we go ahead and put out all these boycott trends?
Well, I think Bollywood has a reputation which precedes it, and it's just not related to the content that they've produced in their films, but rather their conduct in their own personal lives, be it cases related to terrorism, homicide, assault, etc. And you can always see that the entire industry has always stood united with the perpetrators just because they are one of them. So there is a fundamental flaw in the way that the industry has operated, in the way that it's distributed opportunities, in the way that it's treated newcomers, in the way that it's, treated outsiders. So I think that it is necessary to look at the industry holistically and the toxic, the toxic way in which it has evolved. And I think a lot of the power that the stars get is from the people, and people really need to be responsible about the kind of people that they entrust so much power and so much influence to.
But do you back these kind of trends saying boycott Lal Singh Chadda or boycott Alia Bhatt?
Well, I'm not trending any of these trends, so I think you should probably go to people who have written.
No, I'm asking if you back it.
Of course, I'm not backing it publicly. I'm not saying anything like this.
Sure.
But, I think, as a society, we need to also evaluate our choices on a very deep level and then make decisions so as to what is going on, because Bollywood has been primarily responsible for objectification of women and now men, and promote cross things like domestic violence, etc. And it leaves a deeper imprint on the psyche of the society, much deeper than we think is possible. And it somehow comes out, and we need to be really careful about the content that that the people consume, and even the creators have to be really responsible in the way that they influence society, because by the end of the day, media is actually super powerful, and it shapes opinions, it shapes people's perspective, and it also leaves an imprint on a deeper psyche of people.
Agreed.
So everybody, including creators, actors, and makers, need to be really conscious about the way that they choose to influence society in, both through the work that they do and through the lives that they lead personally, because by the end of the day they're all public figures, and the things that they get away with it also gives other people the courage to commit such crimes.
And fair point, Rashmi. Let's open this up. Saurav Jain, leading digital marketing expert, is also with us. I'd also like to introduce actor Flora Saini, who's joining us this evening. Flora, what's your take on this? Rashmi says that celebrities, these actors, they have a whole lot of responsibility in ensuring they send out the right message to society. In such a circumstance, when Amir Khan makes comments about intolerant India, is that okay? When Alia Bhatt does a film in which the trailer talks about violence against men, is that okay?
I think that's absolutely not okay. But what is also not okay is to relate some incident or some past scenario with a movie which is currently going. So I don't think there's a relevancy. We can't take some incident or some scenario or some statement and use that as an opportunity to talk against or talk about, especially when a movie is being released. And that is what I think the conversation is all about. I think on the internet and in the real world, there are movie lovers, and then there is this boycott gang. So let's understand, this boycott gang turned Padmavati into Padmavat. Movie was not even supposed to release, but it got released and everyone went to watch it. And then they came and said this movie is a must watch as it shows the community in good light. I think the boycott gang helps raise curiosity in minds of movie lovers by making a hashtag trend We actually ask people, what's the controversy about? You know, we start Googling about it, reading about it, and
So you're
hold
saying
the
it's intentional in a way?
I think it may be intentional, or even if it's not intentional, it's just helping the movie in some way or the other. Because we are right now holding the popcorn tubs even before the movie has been released, and we are actually getting entertained, and we are very curious to know what's going to happen inside the movie. So
Yeah.
I don't why are these controversies triggered just before the movie? Because the statement was made in 2015, and suddenly there's a whole lot of controversy just before the movie. And we have to just understand this controversy is actually helping the movie in making people say or talk about it like how we are talking about it right now.
Very true. To rely on a cliche, any publicity is good publicity. Flora, you're from the industry. Is that the case? You know, are we seeing all of these manufactured controversies to create some buzz? Because we've been seeing that Bollywood is struggling right now, struggling to deliver any sort of hits in the face of so many regional cinemas doing well.
I think boycott controversy
Well,
is
I don't think
Sorry, that question to Flora, please. Yeah.
yes.
Hi. So I just want to say that films have always been this medium of telling people, the society, giving some sort of message, and issues that have just kind of been swept under the carpet. The world needs to know, and it's been a way of expressing. That's movies for me. And every story is different. I don't think every film needs this kind of a publicity, because I do believe that a lot of stories are really that good. So I know some people do resort to such medium of publicity, but not all films, and it's been happening a lot. If I talk about Darling, Alia's film, domestic violence is a very serious issue. I had spoken up during my Me Too, incident at the time of Me Too, and simultaneously, along with Me Too, there was a Men Too. So people suddenly realized, because Me Too was generally okay, domestic violence ladkiyon ke saath hi hota hai. People were not open to the society was not ready to open up to the fact that no, there are men who also go through domestic violence. And they still didn't get a chance to speak up. So Me Too was just like a tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more that was just simmering under. And I think films like, if there was a Thappad, which kind of people took up, they noticed and they applauded, and then they said, domestic violence is not just restricted to the lower strata, it happens in every class of the society. The same way, I think Darlings is also kind of giving you a view. We've not seen the film's not out, so I think we should hold our horses. They're trying to give us the same message. I think, that's my personal opinion, maybe trying to give us the same message, that men are too, classic case of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. So much has changed. Men have support today, and if there is a story today that is supporting men and trying to say कि नहीं उनके साथ भी होता है, and selling it in a very humorous way, kind of black humor, I think let the audiences decide. Let the film come out, and
The reality is on social media, so far netizens aren't happy. They're saying very clearly that these kind of messages are not okay, which is why you're seeing the hashtag of boycott Alia Bhatt trending right now. The message is very, very clear that they're not going to allow this kind of content right now. But I have to agree that right now the trailer is out. Yes, Flora.
True.
Okay.
I just want to say violence is not okay. So why is, at the time of Me Too, all those people, I don't know what's wrong with people. Why are we so, and I think more men should be supporting this. Women also, there were so many men who supported the Me Too movement, along with women who spoke up.
That's what's happening right now, which is what's led to this particular campaign. That's what's led to this campaign. Rashmi, the question is, amid all of this, outrage also, and so many people now waking up and saying that, look, we're going to take on these tasks, hold them accountable. Is there a worry then that, talent takes a back seat? Alia Bhatt is an extremely talented actor. Amir Khan is an extremely talented actor. But with all of these boycott trends now doing the rounds, with so many saying that, we're not going to watch any of their films from one issue, one controversy, is this spiraling out of control?
Well, I think that after a point, society does put responsibility above talent and, all of the sort. So I think that is something that it's a slippery slope, to be very honest. The cancel culture is known to devolve to an extent that, it sees no reason. But I think at the same time, society has also used it in instances where systems have failed them. So I think it depends case to case, and like you said, it does it does put up that whole danger of whether talent is going to be valued over taking responsibility, over having over responsible actions and responsible content out there. So I think it's a double-edged thing, and it's quite a slippery slope that just keeps evolving with time.
If you look at the cancel culture, it's already hit Hollywood, Saurav. We're kind of late to the trend of cancelling celebrities based on one controversy or the other. We've seen what happened to Johnny Depp and so many other celebrities also, so many talented celebrities as well. Do you think that cancel culture is now something that, netizens have woken up to here in India, which is why you're seeing all of this outrage?
I strongly believe that cancel culture should result in action, but I don't see that popping up in any kind of an action, right? Because it's just controversy, it's just conversations on Twitter or on Instagram for that matter. But when the movie is actually releasing, people end up watching it. So the question is it manufactured? That's one of the most important questions that I have on my mind. And number two, why every single time when the controversy is being created, it's always around the actors and not about everything else around the movie? There are so many people involved in the movie, but it's always those key actors, because I think people get attention when they talk about these actors on social media. So when they see a hashtag trending, everybody goes and start contributing it. But when you start looking at the content, people who have not even watched the movie, they don't really have a great say about it, because they know that there is nothing great or there's nothing intense that we can go and talk about. It's always those people or netizens who are just there, who love to contribute to controversies or to these trending hashtags. They just go ahead and start having voice or opinion about it. But does it really result in any kind of an action? I would say not really. And that's what matters at the end of the day. What is the point of discussion? The discussion should result in an action, but it does not result in an action. The theaters should not be full, but we'll eventually see people who love Amir Khan will end up watching his movies. People who love Alia Bhatt will end up watching her movies. So
yeah,
the community who goes against these topics
I also want to say
are very subjective. They are very few people. And we can't say that that's the voice of the country. That's the voice of few people.
I agree. It's a limited crowd out there on social media. We very often misconstrue it to be the voice of the country or the world. Flora, you had a point.
I just wanted to say it's unfair to kind of hold the actors accountable, because we also have the pressure of giving new stories, because when the film releases, the critics happily write, "Arey, it's the same stuff. Arey, they've not done anything different. Oh, they've got stuck in time." We also have that responsibility to tell tales of the time, new age stories, come up with different stuff. We are in an age where we have Netflix and Amazon, when we're competing with the world, as far as content goes. So they also have that responsibility. And
but they also have a responsibility to society, don't they?
Story is told,
they have a certain responsibility to society. And Amir Khan, for example, coming out and talking about intolerant India or hurting sentiments with a film, that's not okay either.
I think that statement was not made recently, right?
If you
it wasn't,
yeah.
So I believe that if you're talking about the sentiment hurt, then where were we all these years? The statement was made in 2015 or 2016,
correct,
and we're talking about it now. Don't you think?
Why is that? Rashmi, if you could also weigh in on that, why is that? Do you think that people's conscience is woken up now?
Not really. It is just saying, please go ahead, yes.
Yeah, Rashmi, go ahead.
I think there are two things here. Firstly, Amir Khan hasn't gone ahead and retracted his statement in any way. So I mean, the general assumption would be that he still stands with the stance that he made during the time. And secondly, definitely, I mean, social media, the consumption has gone up now. data is cheaper, everybody has a smartphone, so more people have opinions now, and the phenomena has accelerated in the current days due to, you know, how cheap data is. Everyone's got a data, everyone's got a smartphone, so everybody's got an opportunity to voice their opinion today, more than it was during the, you know, earlier days, maybe during around the time that those opinions were made. You know, only people with access to, say, primetime debates could have made those statements, or, you know, the few social media channels that were available during that time. So I think as a society as well, we're really changing the way we voice our opinions. The opportunities that we have to amplify our opinions have also changed. And also at the same time, it isn't that these influencers have taken a different stance from what their stance was before. So people would definitely expect a sort of continuation to that particular sentiment about the country and its people.
But then, Rashmi, is this motivated? Because it comes back to the same issue of a 2014-2015 issue cropping up now. Is that motivated? Where does it start from? It's essentially what I'm trying to get at.
Well, I think I'm no expert to, you know, comment on where it starts. But as
do you believe it's organic is my question essentially.
Well, I don't know. I don't really know whether it's organic, but currently most Twitter trends are supported in one way or the other. So maybe it's not organic, maybe it's organic. But some people definitely have been voicing some genuine, you know, opinions, and maybe others are trying to bank on it and create a trend around it. But I think there is some genuinity to where these sentiments are coming from.
There is definitely a lot of outrage on social media, and that's what's perhaps prompted Amir to come out and say, you know, please watch my film. For someone who's an actor who's been in the industry for so long, perhaps he realizes the fact that social media as a tool right now can be used to cancel an actor very, very easily. Sort of in that circumstance, you know, the point that I was making with Rashmi about this, whether it can be organic, when something that's made long back is being brought up right now, can that actually happen organically, or is it something like, you know, what they refer to as shock advertising?
I think it's an advertisement in a way. For example, every single time there is a movie releasing of the Bollywood stars, there's always this controversy about nepotism and who brings this up. So if that controversy is resulting in cancelling the actor or a movie, it does not happen. People still go watch the movie. It's the same case scenario here. If you ask this question, is it organically? Not true, because these are a great scope or an opportunity for a certain set of community or a certain set of people to act against a particular community. I think it's a very community-driven thing, right? For example, if we see Padmavat, the controversy was real because the situation was real and people wanted to really actually protect the culture, and hence they did not want the movie to release. And they went ahead and they literally ensured that there are certain movies really, you know, scenes from the movies been deleted. But later, when the movie was released, everyone accepted the movie because the movie was showing the community in a great light. So that is understandable because it's talking about a certain community. But this is a statement-driven controversy now. I see that there's no relevancy to it. It is too late for us to talk about it. That means it's just being opportunistic to actually go ahead and contribute to a controversy like this, because the statement, so you're just trying to see how a statement which is made.
It also highlights, and one final comment from Flora also, if I can bring her in. Flora, it also highlights, you know, the kind of trends, the kind of talk on social media is largely negative when you look at these actors and stars, and you compare that to, you know, Tollywood, Collywood stars, where it's all positive. And there are a lot of questions about whether it indicates the sentiments around Bollywood right now, that there's this whole message of big bad Bollywood.
I think no. I think that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong, because I think the whole purpose of movies is, you know, to influence society in some way. So even if we talk about Darlings, coming back to, I think jab tak you don't see the film, so yes, there could be domestic violence, but it could just be the story of a hero, a guy, you know, every film. Like there was a film made on terrorism, so yes, it could tell you about how to make bombs, and that bombs can, or how thrilling it would be to use bombs, but it would also tell you, you know, the sentiment of an entire nation, you know, ki people who are heartbroken. So it would affect people different ways. So the same, I think, with Darlings, if I'm to quote, it might tell you, oh, they're promoting a film on domestic violence on men. But on the other hand, when you see the movie, you just might come out crying or with a thought, a lingering thought, to tell you that no, violence is not all right, men, women alike, and also that that man just might be a hero in the end, and he fights for his rights. We don't know which way it's going to go.
Saurav, I see your hand is up, but unfortunately I've completely run out of time, so my apologies for that. Saurav, thanks to Rashmi, thanks to Saurav, as well as Flora for joining us on this broadcast. A little too early, perhaps, jumping the gun with regards to this boycott Alia Bhatt trend. But overall, this is a message that Bollywood needs to take very, very seriously. Cancer culture is here to stay. It's spreading like wildfire on social media, particularly against the biggest actors on Bollywood. On that note, thanks very much for tuning in. Good night.